Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Vine Panther Presents. Today, we shall be discussing the new Taylor Sheridan show, Special Ops Lioness, starring Zoe Zaldana and a whole bunch of other people. Nicole Kidman, pretty star-studded cast. 8-episode season. 2 episodes were put out on Paramount Plus, so we're going to talk about the first 2 episodes and see where this is going. Is this a long-term series? Is this a mini-series? Does it have legs? We're gonna get into all of those types of things. But Jamani, you're here. What do you think? What do you think about the first 2 episodes of Lioness?
I guess it is interesting. I don't necessarily know what the plot is as far as like a lot about the mission that they're on, like what the overall objective is, like what I'm expecting the end of the mission to be, or we haven't gotten that much detail. We're getting like a lot of preliminary stuff. So um it just seems like a lot of backstory in these 2 episodes.
I agree. A little confusion on that, but hello, Kim. Kim is with us today.
Hi.
How are things? Let's ask her. Kim, what did you think of the first 2 episodes of Lioness?
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I normally don't watch any military stuff, but I enjoyed it actually. Yeah, I thought it was well written for the very beginning. So I'm looking forward to them fleshing out the characters more. Like we know about Cruz, right? We know she's had a really bad childhood, and then the boyfriend, husband, whatever the heck he is, beating the hell out of her. So we know that her background a little bit, but we really don't know. What's the other lady's name?
Joe.
Yeah, we don't know hers yet, but we know her relationship with her husband, which is good, and with her kids. So because you know what I'm talking about, David. Sometimes they don't even flesh out the characters; they just start it, right?
They put you in it, yeah.
Yeah, they just put you in it, and it's like guns are everywhere. They're in Afghanistan or wherever they're at, and they just start shooting, and you're like, who is who? What's going on? So I actually like this. I thought it was pretty entertaining.
All right. So it's interesting. It's ironic, I will say, that you that you phrased it that way, because it actually did start off like that in the middle of Syria.
Well, it did, but then it continued. But you know what I'm saying? Like most of the time, it's more of that. It's longer, right? You see more of that for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
Then you get glimpses of
who they
lives
are as they go forward, right?
Yeah.
But like
I was confused as all hell once the opening credits ran, and then we're just following somebody totally different. And I'm like coming off of watching They Clone Tyrone, and I was like, oh, pimps and hoes, and okay, that's I was like, how does this fit into everything? And then when she ends up at the recruiting office or whatever for the Marines, it was like it still took a long time for everything to fall into place, with it going 4 years prior to the drone attack that we see at the beginning.
So I will say to that point. Also, it seemed a little bit disjointed, right? Like say, like present day, we see Joe with the special ops teams, with the CIA, right? She's part of CIA. One of her assets gets compromised. Then they have to go in to hopefully try to save the said asset, and then she has to make the tough call of just killing everybody. And she does. And then to Jamai's point, then all of a sudden we flash back to another character who's going to be another asset in like her back history, which is Cruz. And I was like, is this Cruz? Like, are we watching how it's going to end? No, this is a whole other person, and what happened to her. And I'm like, okay, like how are we tying this thing together? And then to Jamani's point of what is the point of what we're trying to achieve with this? Like, I too have my same question, because I'm like, this first mission in Syria against ISIS has nothing to do with the target that Cruz is going after. So I'm like, what? Like, like I guess we're trying to start off with action, get it, trying to get people involved, get it, show that Joe can make tough decisions, by sacrificing, someone on her team for the greater good. I guess, but like that mission should have been connected to Cruz's mission to be like, now we have to try some other way to get to this target. And we haven't even seen said target. That was I'm assuming this whole season is going after this prince who facilitates terrorism. But who's the prince? Like, what does he look like? Like, how big is his organization? Is he planning something against American interests?
Well,
like,
we're only on the second episode. I'm sure they're going to let us in on that stuff.
But the thing is, they spent a lot of time on Cruz being a badass. Like, I know that. Like, we spent a lot more time on her whooping ass in the first episode against men, whooping ass in the second episode against men. Like, I get it. But let's talk about the target. Like, let's talk about the mission, right? Unless this whole story is going to be her sad story and how she became a Marine, which is not what the story is supposed to be about. Like they're doing too much.
This reminds me of Homeland with, what was his name? Abat Nazir, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
When it was like he was just the mystery man, and then we see him later on, and he's so charismatic, and then he almost ropes the person in. It's like, so are we expecting her to like be to turn or something? Like, we're showing her to be as tough as nails so that she's so easily influenced or persuaded through words as opposed to torture.
That could be a possibility. It could be a possibility. I don't know. The fact, so to Kim's point, that they kind of flushed out like Joe's family, her husband, 2 kids. They kind of get into that. Like, I'm like, are they going to be somehow compromised? Like, is said terrorist prince facilitator going to go after her family, and that brings them into the story, and that's why they're relevant? Like, is that going to be a thing? Because this episode, they got into Cruz's terrible, not just upbringing, but also like relationship issues. That's why she joined the Marine. Got it. Like, we get into Joe's daughter's racial issues. I'm like, is this going somewhere? Like, is this relevant? Like, I thought actually one of them was a boy. I was completely surprised that both of them.
Oh my God, David, me too. I thought it was a boy when they were sitting at the table. The first scene of them. I thought it was a boy.
I was like, they got a boy and a girl. It's like, yes. My daughters. I was like, daughters. I was like, is one of them going to transition or something? Like, I'm confused. I was like, is this what we do now? I'm like, is Charlie trying to become Charlie? Because it used to be like Cherish, and now she wants to become Charlie. I didn't know what we were doing any of that, and I was like,
yeah, I didn't know either. I thought the same thing.
A girl, but I thought that it was unclear that you're saying it's a race issue. I'm like, they just said you can't beat hate out of somebody, so I'm like, I'm unclear if it was race or could it be gender. Could it what exactly?
Her response to her father was, "Why am I talking to a white man about this?" So right. It was race, and she was beating up a white girl. So we have to assume, unfortunately, that said white girl called some type of Negro because she's very light skinned, but obviously she got some in her. And that somehow that turned into a fight, and therefore a white man can't understand. And then Afro Latino mama comes home, and like she don't even know any of this shit for the record. Like, why did he take the cell phone to begin with? That's not a conversation, right? So, and like, we're not even getting into like what the girls say. Are we gonna go confront the parents? Because she could be sued at this point. I mean, she's going.
I didn't think they flushed that out very well. Because when kids are suspended and everything, the parents, both sets of parents, come to the school. They discuss what happened with the children, and then you flush out what happened, right? And they kind of skipped over all of that. And then it became like an issue with her phone. If the father took the phone, the father took the phone. I understand it was like they were fighting, right? So neither one of them were right. They were both the kids were wrong. So the punishment is take her cell phone. Can we just not, what are we doing now? Now we're giving it back to her, letting her, think it's okay what she did. Now, what I'm saying? I'm not saying she shouldn't defend herself, but you don't touch other people unless they touch you. Because You can get sued as a parent. You can get
That's
sued.
what I'm like. And this, they seem like he's a doctor. Like you would have the house
He's
that they're
a
living
surgeon.
in. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, he's high level. That house is high level. They're probably going to a private school. But anyway, why are we even discussing this? Because this is supposed to be about terrorists. So the fact that we're even having this discussion is like, what are we doing with this show? Like, I want to get to the op stuff. Like, I want to, and then she gets an American killed. I mean, this asset, we got to remember that said woman who got killed in the Jones strike, that's probably a service member. That's probably another woman special ops person who got pulled into this mission.
It was.
So I'm like, where's the, warrior's funeral? Where's the, I went to the family and I tried to tell her that their daughter got killed, like in a training accident. And like,
no,
like,
she said she writes letters. she doesn't go to them. She writes letters.
I'm like, I needed that. I needed some time for Joe to show that she understands the consequence instead of a staff meeting where she's explaining to her boss why she launched the Jones strike. I need to see her that she's going to the family, taking some responsibility, and that's why she comes home drinking alcohol, because she's like, I just got a woman killed. The family hates me. I'm trying to deal with that, but then I still got a mission to do, like, because this is all connected. Because this mission is really about the next mission, right? Like, if they would have connected those two, it would have been better. More time with that, so I can because it's like she just killed that girl and just jumped onto a new one. I mean, really.
She did.
So I'm like,
that's how they showed it. Yeah.
I'm like, what was the gap of time in between the girl, what we saw pre-credits? And
none. She got off the plane. She had a staff meeting. She went back to brag, got another one, and said, we're going back to mission. And that doesn't happen. Like, that doesn't happen. You failed in your mission. You got an American killed. You didn't even accomplish your goal. We don't even know what the goal was, but you're on timeout. Like, that's what you're doing. Like, you're sitting around waiting to get approved for the next mission. Like, you need to prove that you can even operate in the field. They don't just say, go out there and find another American to put into harm's way and have a nice day. Like, this don't make any sense. Like, also, I felt who watched Captain Marvel?
Oh wait, no, I didn't watch that one. No.
The reason I bring it up, like, I know a lot of people, a lot of men in particular, are going to crap on this show because it's a very strong woman perspective. I know that, right? So I'm like, but they're not helping their case. They're not helping their case. Like, this is not supposed to be a gender issue, because for her to be in the girls line of the Marines next to the boys line of the Marines, and both bars are the same level. They are equal. The bars are equal. For her to be like, I want to be over there because I can do 15 of these. What the fuck are we doing? Like, it's the same bar. Just do 20 on your bar and let them go, oh my God, she beat a man. Is she bionic? No, she's just really strong and had a bad life. Like, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. Like, I was irritated with that whole fucking scene. Because, like, no, I can do 25. I thought I was watching Officer and Gentleman there for a little bit. I thought he was going to be like, look here, recruit, you can do this. I got nowhere else to go. Anyway.
Or if it was raining, it could have been G.I. Jane.
I was thinking about that. But then, and they did the whole Sears training thing, which was very big in G.I. Jane. When she was like, suck my dick. They're like, oh my God, she said dick and whatever. Like, I thought that was going to be a thing. Anyway, we spent too much time establishing Cruz as a badass. Too much.
Well, yeah, it was like a whole episode.
2, but yes, but
yeah, you could say it was 2. Yeah,
it was 2.
I would say 1.5. I'd say
okay.
1.5.
All right, because that second one was definitely about let's go through this logic that doesn't make any sense. All right, okay. So Joe is like, I'm gonna put Cruz through a super level of torture training, so I know how much time I have to save her. But last episode, we saw you murder this woman immediately. Like, there was no, oh, we got an hour, we got 2 hours, and she was breaking down. She was giving up national U.S. government secrets or some shit. So they had no choice but to kill her. She immediately killed that girl.
Okay, she was caught. Like, you heard her get caught. So what did you expect them to do? Like,
no, I hear you, but I'm saying that all the torture training that Cruz went through is not going to fix any of that in that same situation. Like Cruz, she said, you're going to get caught. Now that's what Joe's speech to Cruz was. When you get caught, you need to survive. So I have time to come find you. No, when you get caught, I'm killing you. So
no. It was.
Well, I think she's not going to do. I think she's trying not to do that. I don't think the other young lady actually went through the same torture training that this young lady went through, or maybe it was a different kind. But basically, in my opinion, Joe is trying not to do that again. She doesn't want to blow up Americans again. So she's trying to do everything she can to like toughen up this girl to make sure that she never has to, drop the bomb on anyone else again. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
So to piggyback on what Kim is saying, it's they basically say all of that throughout the second episode, I believe it is. Like when she chose her, they say, all right, so you better strip search the person the next time. So she does that with her. And then she's like, oh, so what's that? Oh, those are cigarette burns. Oh, and this is an extension cord wound on the back. So it's like, oh, so she can take torture or that type of treatment. Then it's okay. She wants to see, when they were on the plane, she said, it's not about me coming to save you. It's you have to save yourself, and then I will come and get you. So it's a matter of how long, once your cover is blown, can you withstand? Do you have a point where you can save yourself or try to get out of there so that we can then extract you? Because if you're still in like the torture chamber or in the room, there's no way that we're going to be able to save you. Trying to send in however many people, however long it takes, is just going to be better to just blow the whole place up. If you can get out of there, then we'll come and pick you up. But you have to withstand the torture long enough for there to be an opening for you to get out.
I agree with you with the whole, I have to strip you down to make sure you don't have Christian-like signs. That's what it was. The cross said Christian, and this asset was playing.
Yeah, and Joe missed that. And that was huge, though. That was huge. That was a mistake. That was a huge mistake. Yeah.
Yeah. So I totally agree. I totally agree that the full body search was direct related to the previous asset. I totally agree with that. This asset got caught. And because of that, her explanation to her boss was, this was about to be an internet video that we didn't want. Yeah. I sacrificed her over the team. So the training should be, can you avoid, which is what seer training is really, can you avoid being captured? Because once you're captured, I have to make a decision. Like, so it's not about surviving capture. It's like you need to evade being captured. Like if she was able to run and chase, and they were chasing through some woods and some bullshit, like that would obviously that would be more relevant to this one mission. But I thought it was interesting that even Cruz is like, just launch a missile because I'm not going through this again. And she's like, it's funny you should say that because that's on the table. It was hard. Again, I just, as Jamani said too, like I need to know who the villain is. Like what are we trying to achieve this season? I'm assuming this is terrorist that we're gonna try to arrest or kill or whatever. And like we have no idea who this person is, like physically. Like she gave a very short description. Joe explained who the target was to Cruz, but we had no photo or something to be like.
Is that woman that Cruz was talking to, the Muslim woman? Is she with the prince? Because I didn't get that part. Is that the prince's wife or something? Or
I thought she's a relative. I thought she was a daughter. I thought she was a daughter. She's a relative. I think she's a daughter. Okay. I think I want that's what I'm going for. She's not a wife or anything. I feel like she's a daughter and something like that.
Okay.
But even this conversation right here shouldn't have to go through all this because it should be established. Like there should be an ops briefing where it's like, our next target is so and so, relationship so and so. We're going after so and so. Now Cruz and us knows what we're trying to achieve and her role in trying to achieve it. And then we
No,
get
I agree that Cruz shouldn't know. We as the viewer should know because they have the briefing like you're talking about. I don't think Cruz should be in on that briefing because, as Joe said, it's best that you not know as little as possible because that's the way you're supposed to be. You don't want to have any slip ups in saying anything or knowing anything you shouldn't already know.
you are right, and I did like that part of in the car again
Yeah.
being said. Let's go back to the ISIS mission where we find out that that's how her cover got blown. This happens in other movies too. Oh, I didn't tell you that. How did you know that? Right? If the debriefing should be, how did your asset get blown? She said it wasn't a fucking tattoo. Like she said the wrong thing, and that tripped the targets, and we were like, oh my god. So now she's like, oh, I can't do that. Like I know better now. But you're right. I thought that was awesome to be like, you don't want to say too much, so I can't tell you too much. But we still should have the ops briefing with therefore Cruz's boss, no, Joe's boss wasn't Donald.
Caitlin.
Donald.
Oh, Donald.
Kathleen,
Caitlin was her boss.
That Kathleen, but I'm saying their boss is Donald. Like Donald, like Kathleen and Joe were talking to Donald, which was the white man that they were debriefing them in the CIA. So I'm saying
the guy from House of Cards, right?
Yeah, the guy from House of Cards. So
Yeah.
he's in charge, and then ultimately probably Morgan Freeman's character is in charge of him because eventually he's in this series. So he's probably chief of ops, something like that.
So who is Nicole Kidman's character? Because I thought her name was Caitlin.
Caitlin is Joe's boss.
Right.
But Donald is their boss.
He's the bigger boss.
That's what I'm saying. And then Morgan Freeman is probably the next bigger boss. But usually in these kind of shows, it's all the CIA director of operations. So like Morgan Freeman's character is probably the director of operations. And then Donald's like the deputy chief or some shit. And then again, we don't have titles to this point too. We've got introduced to two probably long-term characters, and we don't know what their title is or how they fit and that kind of thing. I got a few Yellowstone vibes in this.
Did you?
I
really?
did.
Okay.
Bobby, the woman in charge of the special ops quick reaction force.
Yes.
She reminded me of Teeter. I thought that was Teeter. Like her hair, her mannerisms, I thought that was Teeter just in a new role. That's what I thought. And then it's like, but it's not, it's a whole different actor. But she gave me Teeter vibes. Them sitting around playing cards, drinking. I was like the bunkhouse. I got
Teeter. Wait, Teeter from Yellowstone. Okay, so the one with the pink hair. That
yes.
Chick? Oh
yes.
God, no, that woman did not give me no. Teeter is like wild and just says whatever she says, and that accent is so strong. I want to punch her in the face. I'm like.
Minus the accent. I'll say Teeter minus the accent because this Bobby, she's rough and tough. Like, hey, we're about to go do.
She is, but I don't think she's Teeter. No.
I felt Teeter. Oh, and then again, them some kind of sitting around drinking, like playing cards. I was like, a little bit of the bunkhouse.
Well, Two Cups is from Yellowstone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was actually gonna say, I was like. Taylor Sheridan, they must be related because he was also in Mayor of Kingstown.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So it could
be he's just a good actor. He really is a good actor.
Yeah. So. But certain producers, they got their crew. Like every director kind of has their crew they kind of work with, and he's clearly that top level. Like where I go, you go. If I eat, you eat. Because he's just bounced around from show to show because he's dead on Mayor of Kingstown. He's still alive on Yellowstone, so but he don't have a lot of screen time. And I'm saying so like you can bounce in and out of this one. So I got a feeling he might get killed off in this series. Yellowstone's about to end though, so maybe this is a jumping off. Casey could come on to not as Casey, but Casey, those actors like if this gets to season 2, and they don't go to the spinoff, they could probably join. Casey definitely has that special ops look to him. He is playing an ex-Navy SEAL. So he could not Jamie though. I'm not seeing Jamie in this one, but I can see.
But I think because he's a Marine in Yellowstone, Taylor's not going to put him in this. He wouldn't put him in it.
All right.
It's too close. It's too close.
Too close for character.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but we never actually
because we see him in yellow. We know he is though. The point is that we know that Casey is a
Navy SEAL.
a Marine. So
Yeah.
it would be kind of corny, in my opinion, for him to be like, oh, you know what? He's a Marine in this show. Let's put him in this show. No, leave Casey where Casey is.
I could see Jamie being that plastic surgeon that Neil was talking about.
That would be interesting.
Oh, wait, and you know what? I didn't even think about that. That the husband, Neil, is the older brother from Yellowstone.
Oh, he is.
He's Lee.
Oh shit! Yeah. Well, he was only in one episode, so it's fine. It's fine. I was like, I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
And his story, I mean, that could be a show. Like just like the trials and tribulations of being a cancer doctor dealing with kids, like this whole like I'm invested to see what happens to this poor little girl. Do the parents ultimately say we're just gonna do a quality of life and we're just gonna let her go? Like I'm really invested in that story, right?
That was a sad story.
It was. I mean, it's still well written. It's just like it's 3 different shows right now that they can do. And I'm like,
I think we're also gonna get Neil and the girls by themselves, how they adjust to when Joe leaves on missions. You know what I mean? They got to show that part because we've been introduced to them now. So we have to show when mommy's away, how does Neil deal with the girls, right?
And I think
also, did you guys, and maybe it was just me, did you hear them say, like Joe and Neil, when they were getting into bed and I don't know if they were getting in the bed, but they were in the bedroom.
I know you're talking about.
And they were like, who are you seeing?
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. So this is an open marriage here?
So I wanted to bring that. I'm glad you brought that up because that got me thinking about his co-doctor. The woman, I don't want to say assistant because I'm assuming because the woman, she's assistant, but the woman that it was with him when he was like trying to counsel, when he was trying to talk to the family.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I was like, they're fucking. Like I was like, this is. If they go somewhere with that, I'm like, this is probably his side
I think
piece.
they are because I don't think that would be said. They wouldn't have brought it up if it wasn't going to be explored.
It's not going to be a thing.
I think it is already a thing because I'm like the daughter, the oldest daughter,
Charlie,
was already focused on, are you getting a divorce? And I was like, where did that come from?
Well, so you got to think about mom's gone often. She was gone for 6 months. As she perceives it, her parents, her mom's barely there. They're already fighting right now. So and a lot of her classmates also have divorced parents. So it could just be like, y'all just gonna break up because I barely see mama as it is. I don't think it's an issue of daddy's always hanging out with Dr. So-and-so, and because I think she would have said that. I think she would have been like, hey mom, dad's fucking around on you because right now. Live with dad for the record. For one, she's always like, dad is where I want to be. So she's not favoring the mom by no means. I mean, Joe is not the favorite parent in this situation.
No, not at all.
So, and I think they want to show that Charlie is like her mom, like she's a badass just like her mom. She's got some redirected anger issues.
Yeah. Yep.
And that could be something.
I picked up on that. I felt like the reason why they don't get along is because they're too alike, and that happens a lot. If your child is a lot like you, it clashes. You both clash with each other. You love each other, but you clash because you are each other, right?
Yeah.
And then that conversation that they had was the most it just seemed like the dialogue seemed like it didn't seem like it was for a mother and a daughter. It was like just 2 estranged people. She was like, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm like, I've never known a parent to ask a teenage child that. Like, you pretty much know what they kind of want to be, or you would ask it in a different way.
No,
it just seemed very
wait a minute. We have a person with 2 kids.
That's not true. You add your child, each child has a different personality. They're 2 individuals. If I may ask one child in a certain way, maybe a different way. The other child, I might just be straight up with it. What do you want to do when you grow up? Well, who do you want to be? what are your goals after you finish whatever. And then the other child, you may be like, so what is it that you're interested in? Like, what makes you happy? What do you see yourself as an adult doing? It all depends on the child and their personality, how you approach that question to your child. So Joe may have felt that was the best way to approach Charlie. You just don't know.
And also, perhaps, one, we have nothing from Kate, so I feel like Kate is Yaz, like she's just kind of there for some reason.
She's a placeholder.
She's a placeholder for a character they don't know what to do with her. You can't just have one child.
No,
so
I think she's more of a Raina than a Yaz. Because it's like, yeah, well, I need to, she's a plot device for Charlie. So it's like, oh, well, you got to make breakfast for her. You know the deal, stuff like that.
Okay.
And she's going to be the good girl, right? And Charlie's the rebel.
And then Charlie, from a case officer perspective, like, it was interesting how she manipulated the dad situation. Like, she came in crying, seeming sincere, and then she walked up to Joe and was like, "How about that?" And she's like, "Oh shit!" Like,
she manipulated them. Yeah,
she's like me. Like,
kids
she's
know
like
how to
me.
manipulate their parents. They just do, and they know how to manipulate each one, and each one is different.
And the fact that she showed that to her mom, though, like, that was a whole new level to be like, and mom let it happen. Like,
mom knows that girl is her. She knows that is something that she probably has done a million times to her own parent,
right? Or and at work and stuff. So that was I did like that. So again, we have a well written family drama. They could do. They could have went that direction. We got the international special ops thing, which needs a little bit more developing, but that's something. They got the action, they got the drama. It could be about the quick reaction force. Like, this show could be about them, because they seem to have a type camaraderie, like family kind of environment. Oh, Yellowstone, I thought, when they went to the bar to stand up for Cruz, because somehow they knew the exact team that did that to her, just based on the fact that they went to that Alcatraz place. I was like, I thought of when they got their ass whooped at the bar and they went back to Yellowstone, and they're like, I thought they were gonna bring in a bull for some reason. I just thought they were gonna go full Yellowstone. I was like, come on. But yeah, it's like that could be a story in and of itself, like just them. A lot of great characters, but not a clear vision of threats, of imminent threat. Like
not yet. I have faith in Taylor. I feel like he's gonna bring the story out.
We will get there. Cruz is a badass. We got it. Let's move on.
I think didn't they do it in reverse? Wouldn't you do all of the stuff that we saw, so to say, with like the taking her off the street, putting her in the place or whatever, torturing her? You would do that before she meets the asset, right? Or
that's a good point.
The person that she's targeting, right? Because you wouldn't take them out of this situation in case somebody's watching and then put them back afterwards. And then she's clearly beaten up, right? So how long are we going to wait for her to heal up?
Nope. She said she was in a car accident.
She's going right in. And you're right, Jamani. That doesn't make sense. I feel like they missed that point. And they were like, oh, well, you know what? We need to put her through this training. You know what I mean? Like, they were like, we got her. Wait a minute. We didn't put her through blah, blah, blah training. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. You got to go through this training. You know what I mean? Like, bosses do stuff like that all the time. They throw you on a team, expect you to know what you're doing. And then it's like, no one trained this person. Oh, wait a minute. Well, sit with blah, 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 and they'll train you. It's like, but you had me already doing the job. It's like, what? You know what I mean? Like, it happened. I think that was like just a mistake, maybe.
It was so I agree with both of you. Like, Giovanni, like, this should have been when Joe met Cruz at Bragg, when she saw her. It's just too me. But when she was in there and she's like, who's next, damn it. Like, it should have been, okay, let her walk down the street going to the store and let's see how this shit goes. And then put her through that. And when she comes out beating up every man she can get her hands on, then they're like, this is the one. Like I can work with her. Now we get to episode 2 should have been episode 1, and then and now we're getting into okay. Now here's the mission. Here's the target. Put on your nice clothes. We got to go out there and do business. Like that makes sense. You're right. You're right.
You're right.
It definitely was out of order.
Yeah, you're right, Jamani.
I think of the Recruit. Did you guys see the Recruit with Al Pacino when he was still?
Oh, I saw it a while when it first came out. That was a long time ago.
Oh, it was. It was. Did you see it? Did you see the Recruit, Jamani?
No, I didn't see that.
It was when Colin Farrell was important. When people thought he was a go-to actor.
People loved him before he became an alcoholic, falling down drunk.
Well, most actors are, but they're still not. But he was still profitable then. Like that's when he was a profitable drunk. Yes. But he was recruited into the CIA. Al Pacino was his case officer leader and everything. It was a test. It was a test. Like he went through all this bullshit, and like the whole movie was him like going through these trials and tribulations to be worthy enough to be a case officer. There's like a real mystery he's trying to solve. And I'm like, that's the kind of feeling I was getting. Like that could be a show. Like that potentially could be a show. If it's like we're gonna put you through some tests, maybe put you in the field every once in a while, and we're seeing Cruz develop. And like at the end of the season, like she's ready to go out there and do missions. And that's like the next season. Like they could have did that. So they had some options.
But I think the way that Taylor writes, it seems to me, and it seems like he always has little small stories going on. Like you got the one big story, right? And then you have little stories in the big story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that he just, I'm trying to trust him because of Yellowstone, right? I'm like, I know you can, this is going to get better. That's how I feel. I'm like, this is going to get better. I trust that it will. And
I didn't realize he did Tulsa King. I was like, what?
You know what? I did not even know that. And I told you, I watched Tulsa King. And I was very, very shocked that he did Tulsa King because, like I told you, Tulsa King, Sylvester Stallone, he's a good actor. We know this, right? Everybody that's in that show, they're pretty good actors, right? It's like a dramedy, right? But I didn't feel comfortable watching it because I felt like it was that he was taking it back too far. Like the mafia no longer goes to a business and takes it over. They just don't do that anymore. They just say, you give me a certain amount of money, and you'll from your profits. They'll say that, but they don't go in there, take it over. People are scared of you. They don't do that stuff anymore. We know that now. They don't even call themselves the mafia anymore. So I was like,
and also you're not 80. Like damn. Like
yes.
I was like, it was but so I didn't know. So when I read the description of the series, they're like by Taylor Sheridan, of Yellowstone and King of Tulsa. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, he did wrote that. I was like, no way in the world I'm reviewing that show. But like you said, you got Neil, his family story. We got that. It's pretty solid. They can flush that out, right? Mm-hmm. And you got Joe and Cruz, and hopefully that's the main story. Like you got that going on. Yeah. And to the point, once Cruz gets in with the daughter or whatever, that's going to be its own thing. But then Joe's going to have to deal with the political stuff, like Caitlin and Donald and like how the administrative part of the operation, and that's going to be its own thing. So it's connected to the other story, but so that's at least 2 to 3 stories they can get into. But again, I need to see the target. I need to see the target doing some bad shit and why he's bad and why I care. And I want him taken down, and we're not there yet at all.
Oh, and Britney Spears' husband is in this.
Oh, really?
Yes. Sam.
Oh, was he in the episodes? Was he coming?
No, we haven't seen him yet, but he is going to be in this.
All right. He can't just be sitting around and be Britney Spears' husband. Like you got to earn something.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So let's wrap this up so we can get to, and I'll see you guys later for they clone Tyrone. Are you doing that one, Kim?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I watched. Yes. I liked it. I did. I enjoyed it. I thought it was extremely entertaining. Jamie Foxx is the funniest man, hands down. He is like top comedian because he just off the top of his dome. I know a lot of that stuff he was saying, and it couldn't have been written because it's just too Jamie Foxx. You know what I'm saying? Like he did a really good job.
Well, we will get to that. We'll get that. Well, real quick, Giovanni. Anything else for Lioness?
It's I think that this is probably the best production value I've ever seen on an MTV production.
All right.
So I would say just on that, it seems like there's a lot of money, and whenever there's a lot of money, there's it seems to result in better story, better acting, all of that type of stuff. So I see it being probably the thing that takes over Paramount, being in the absence of Yellowstone ending.
Okay. All right. I agree. The production value is amazing. It's a very well quality show. And writing is good. I'm not saying the writing is bad. I'm just saying like where we go with the story. I like to see where it goes. And again, a very star-studded cast. So I mean, they got the resources to make a good show. And I'm looking forward to see where it goes. Again, only 8 episodes. So we'll see what he can do with that. But anyway, thank you guys very much for hanging out. And we will see you again at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And then for they clone Tyrone, and then Kim and Stacy and I are gonna do Judge Me Not on All Black, and ask our questions why. We asked why. But it's all black. So what else are you gonna do? Let's get back to over here with the banners. So try to figure this thing out. All right. All right, guys. I will see y'all next time.
Okay.